Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. I am JB with, once again, out from behind the desk. That's right, I'm at Chavez Ravine, where the Los Angeles Dodgers are set to play Game 2 of the NLCS. And this Chatting Cage will feature two-time World Series champion, Steve Sax. Steve, how you doing, buddy?
JB, I'm doing fantastic. I'm here at my own stomping grounds in Los Angeles. It's 97 degrees. It's a beautiful day. Where else would I rather be?
There is no place better to be right now. And fans, you have the opportunity to be here with us. Join this Edward Jones Chatting Cage by firing up your device. Use the MLB Fans app and join the cage. If not, you can also type your comments in or hashtag Chatting Cage, and I will read them like this. This is from the MLB Fans app. It's at the top of the list, and I love it. Dodgers the best. Steve, first, I'm a huge Dodger fan. My question for you is, do you think the Dodgers have a chance to win the World Series, and why?
Absolutely they do. Even in the midst of one of the biggest stories, I think, in baseball right now, the fact that Corey Seager is not on the roster raises a lot of concerns about what I think is arguably the toughest out in this lineup. I still think the Dodgers have the depth. They certainly have a team that's well rested now. They've been tested throughout the course of the season through that unbelievable run that they had where they won 43 out of 50 games, only to hit a trough, if you will, where they lost 16 of 17. That was a tough time for this team, but it also got them a time where they could plant their feet back on the ground. Gave the manager, Dave Roberts, a chance to maybe wag his finger at the team a little bit, which is something he never had to do. So, in essence, what the team did was they were able to fix a situation that went bad, and they corrected that. They were outstanding down the stretch, 8 out of 10 that they won. And, in fact, they disposed of the Diamondbacks in 3 straight in postseason. So, here they are up 1 game in the NLCS. I think the team is absolutely poised and ready. Maybe this is the first time in 29 years that the Dodgers will finally win the World Series.
Let's go to it now, the EDJ question of the day. What do you think makes this year's playoff team different from Dodgers playoff teams in recent past?
Well, look, the power on this team is really great. I mean, you're also getting one of the most prolific surprises that a team really does need to have. And there's a couple of things you have to go through. The stalwarts have to have their great years. The pitching has to be good. You got to stay pretty much out of the injury tub throughout the course of the year. And you have to have a big surprise on your team, at least one big surprise on the team. Now, I don't know if anybody this year in 2017 expected Cody Bellinger to hit 39 home runs and set a record in doing so. So there's your big surprise for the team. This club is loaded with it. This team has got a lot of firepower on it. Yasiel Puig certainly has stepped forward with the 28 home runs in almost an obscure position that they put him in at the 8th position, the 7th position, yet he was able to just kind of go in there, with all the attention on everybody else and have such a bang-up year, play a Gold Glove caliber right field, and do all those little things to ignite this team on the base paths that make him so exciting. So I think this team has got a lot of surprises on it that came forward, and the talent speaks for itself. So I think that's why this team is, got a great chance to win it.
Great answer there from Steve Sax, folks. That's how it works. Join us here in the cage. Type your question in the comment section. I'll read it. Or join us like this fan here. What's your name, fan? What's your question for Steve Sax?
What was your favorite baseball team when you were a kid?
Oh, well, I'm going to make a lot of people mad right now, but I got to be honest with you. My favorite team growing up was the San Francisco Giants because I grew up near Sacramento. I grew up on a farm outside of Sacramento, dreamed about playing for the Giants. I would just, we used to listen to Lon Simmons call the games, and our family would be, on a Sunday afternoon, kind of on the couch, laying on the floor, listening to KFBK radio.
Steve, I got to sort of corral a lot of social media questions. This would be topic number 2 after Dodgers and postseason experience from NMO 2004. Steve Sax, how did it feel to be on The Simpsons?
I get that question a lot. Look, for all the Simpsons fans out there, we were on one of the most highly rated, shows that the Simpsons ever put out. And it was funny because Homer Simpson just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I was on that episode. So I am technically in the Hall of Fame. October 22nd, they're going to do a special. It's almost like a Dateline version of that, if you will. It's almost like a Dateline spoof on The Simpsons. And I had a nice little role in that, so that's going to be on Fox, on the national network, October 22nd. It felt great to be on The Simpsons. Homer Simpson's quite a man. With that deep yellow pigmented skin that he has and the hair that's all sticking up, You know, the cat has 3 fingers and a thumb and is able to operate just with no problems whatsoever. The body is not good on Homer Simpson, as you well know. A little bit challenged with the body, but what an athlete. I'll tell you what, the guy is something else, a prolific athlete. The rest of it isn't good, though. The body, terrible, but, man, he gets it done.
He might fail the eyeball test, but, boy, his durability is unquestioned as he's taken more hits than anybody I've seen in modern
That's
records.
right.
We're getting a fan in here to join us on the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Just talk to Steve Sax. Get your device fired up. Join us like this, fan. What's your name? What's your question for Steve?
What is your best moment as a Dodger?
I think my best moment with the Dodgers, I had a lot of really fantastic moments that I was so fortunate to have with this team. But I think winning the World Series in '88, definitely one of the most unbelievable moments to be in that room in Oakland. And, you know, what I actually did is I took my uniform off right when we won the World Series, went into a little room by myself and kept it for posterity. I put it in a bag. And I remember all the commotion going on next to us. You know, the cameras were shooting off the flash bulbs, and it was so loud in there. And I can remember sitting down in that chair in that room all by myself. And I could almost have gone to sleep with all the commotion going on because I was just absolutely emotionally and mentally drained from this whole World Series thing that just really does take it out of you. But all the while, as tired as I was, thinking that, you know what, I'm part of the best team in the world right now, and it's an unbelievable feeling. So I'd say winning the World Series is it's really the zenith of anybody's career, and I was fortunate to be a part of that.
A great question from the fans there, and we appreciate that here in the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Steve, thanks for sharing those thoughts. We go back now to the MLB Fans app, and this one is about the future for these Dodgers, the very soon-to-be future. Sport Junkie New York City wants to know, Steve, which road would you prefer to take to the land of the championship? Do you want, after the perilous trip through Chicago, would you want to see them go through Houston or head through New York? Which you think is better for those Dodgers?
You know what? Either way, I'll tell you one thing. Both of those teams are on opposite sides of the spectrum. The Houston team is definitely the more talented team. The Yankees can be a team that can be a little bit more scary because they're so unpredictable. We don't know what kind of a run that Aaron Judge is going to go on. Him and Sanchez partnered up in the middle of that order create a lot of problems for people. Sanchez is more of the better hitter. Judge is the guy that creates more of the power. Also, sandwiched in the middle of that is Didi Gregorius. He's one of the most up-and-coming great young players in the game today. Stepped into the shoes of Derek Jeter just a couple of years ago and has been off and running since. I had Didi when I was a coach with the Arizona Diamondbacks back in 2013. I really felt that this guy was going to be a huge star, and here he is. So the Yankees are a scary type of a team.
It is an exciting postseason, one of the best we've had in a long time in terms of the caliber of every team that is left in it. That's Steve Sax. We're taking your questions like this fan right here. Fan, what's your name? What's your question for Steve?
What's up, Steve? I'm Pete. What's the biggest challenge you had during the transition to retirement?
You know what, Pete? I embraced retirement. I think it was time for me. I could tell that my skills were starting to wane. And it was almost like, you know what? You're thinking about what you're doing on the field instead of reacting to it. When you're in that position, it's like somebody's tapping you on the shoulder and say, you should retire. You're not as good as you used to be. And I didn't want to play at a B level. I didn't want to just hang out on team, play sparingly, be a bench role player or sometimes outfield, infield. I wasn't ready for that. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to play. If I couldn't be an all-star candidate type of a player, I let somebody else come up and play. I played a long time. I fulfilled everything I wanted to do. It was time for me to retire. I had 2 young children that I wanted to be with all the time, and so I embraced retirement. It's been great for me. I actually don't miss baseball. I loved it. It's given me every opportunity I have in my life. It's opened every door for me. But it was time to move on, and I love baseball now on this side of it, on the media. It's a great opportunity to stay connected with the game. But it was time for me to retire, and I look forward to it.
A great question from the fans there as we are about to wrap things up here in this Edward Jones Chatting Cage from the NLCS pre-game 2. We go back to the MLB Fans app. Drew DeBrew wants to know, Steve, as we look forward, if you have any advice to the young core players for these Dodgers on how to stay focused in these playoffs, what would that advice be?
Well, with social media so vibrant today, it's kind of hard not to get involved in that. I would say always remember one thing is that you're the slave of what you do and say, and you're the master of you're the slave of what you do and say, and you're the master of what you don't do and say. So, putting things out there in social media, getting involved in all that stuff, it's nice to be connected with people, but, kind of limit all the stuff that you can, the personal stuff, keep that kind of close to your vest, and just put the importance of the game and your preparedness out there. I think that's a very important thing to do. We all know what people are going to do on the field because the numbers show it. But I want to see what people are going to do behind the scenes when nobody's looking. What kind of preparedness do you make for each and every game? Those are the guys that are going to have the long-lasting careers, and the guys that are going to continue to be consistent year in and year out by the way that you prepare.
That is well said for these Dodgers and well said for all of us to listen to. Thank you for that advice, Steve. Fans, as always, I want to thank you for being part of the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Without you, I have so much more work to do, and that's not good for anybody. So we appreciate you joining us here in the show and making this show so excellent. Steve, I want to thank you. It's a delight, as always, to talk to you, and I hope you enjoy NLCS Game 2. We'll see you on the next round of the Edward Jones Chatting Cage.